The year is 2019. Baby Yoda is still
massive.
People actually liked Marvel movies. And most importantly, this is the most important thing that happened that year. War for Cybertron is released. No, not that one, silly. War for Cybertron Siege. I don't know why they gave it the same name as the games. It's just kind of confusing. And this toy line signified the biggest shift Transformers has seen since, I don't even know, like G1?
Action.
Masters.
But the power to transform, to become stronger, faster, more alive.
No. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Let's take a journey back and look at War for Cybertron Siege. Now, a few seconds ago, I said Siege made some of the biggest changes a Transformer toy line had seen. And whether these were good changes or bad kind of depends on who you ask. First off, Siege saw an increase in all figures by about $10 at the time. And that's in Canadian. I don't know what it was for everywhere else. I live in the Moose country. This price change did mean we saw some improvements in the figures though. Almost every figure is much more articulate than previous lines. Ankle pivots, which were usually reserved for leaders, is now standard for everyone. Yay! Legends class has also been eradicated, gone. Bye-bye now. And it was kind of replaced, but like not really. More on that later. We also saw a new size class in Commander, which was kind of like a bridge between Titans and leaders. Speaking of leaders, they have been drastically changed, and those changes have stuck around to present day, even if some people are not happy about it. Siege was also the first line in a long time to not have figures built around gimmicks. I mean, like, technically, they did have gimmicks in the form of, like, the blast effects and weaponizers, but all this really meant was that the figures had just ports all over them, these cool little blast effects could attach to, and I'll talk about the weaponizers later, don't worry about those. And nearly every figure had battle damage painted on them. Some people tolerated this, and other people hated it. Even I, at the time, wasn't really a fan of it, but now looking back where we have like the upgraded version of a lot of these figures, I don't really mind it that much. And every figure in this line turned into their Cybertronian alt mode, which it was a bit of an iffy change, but the next line did a lot to remedy any of the qualms what fans had about this. Like I said, Legends is gone. Done. Bye-bye. Instead, now we have Battle Masters and Micro Masters. And we saw similar size figures in Titans Return and Power of the Primes with the Titan Masters and Prime Masters. And the Battle Masters were just Target Masters. Too many masters. They're just bots that can turn into guns under a new name. And Micro Masters, they were just like these 2 packs of little Transformers, and they were neat little updates of their G1 counterparts. And one thing I don't even want to say Target Master name. One thing I really liked about the Target Masters was that they were just like these little companion pieces to other figures. All of the deluxes were now much more articulate, and in general just feel a lot higher quality than the other lines, especially in like the paint application department. No more stupid Takara gets the much better stuff than us. That's gone. Now we're all equal, equality. No more good stuff for Japan. Good stuff for everyone now. Siege is also where Hasbro made the decision to adhere to scale a lot more. All the figures now scale to cartoon accuracy. That's in quotations. The cartoon isn't accurate. There's no scale here. This would create some problems later on, but during Siege's run, this was a great change. And man, did Siege just have some amazing figures. The highlights were Sideswipe, who he was really basic, but he was just a great fun little dude. And Hasbro thought he was great too, because as of this video, the Sideswipe mold has been used for 13 other figures. That's insane. A consistent trend you're gonna see here is that a lot of these Siege molds have just been used a stupid amount of times over the past few years, like they're still seeing use today. Skytread was just a really cool deluxe. His name's not Skytread, it's Flywheels. Screw you. And he meant that now collectors could have both the Duocons. Ooh, Impactor saw his first mass release toy ever, and he was solid. Literally. Spinister was an absolutely fantastic figure. And this mold has gone really underutilized in my opinion, like he's only gotten 1 Redeco. 3 Weaponizer figures were also introduced here, and they had this gimmick of breaking apart into a bunch of weapons, then you like put their mangled body parts on the other Transformers you have. I don't know, I thought it was kind of cool. And basically all the Voyagers here were top tier. Optimus and Megatron joined the ranks of the many generations figures of the characters, and they were both good solid additions. While poor Siege Optimus was outdated within a year, Megatron is still kicking around somehow. The Siege Megatron mold has had 10 Redecos, and I'm sick of it. I like this mold, but please, no more. Give us the 86 one.
Siege mold.
Megatron's cronies also got solid updates. Even if Siege's Seeker mold, it's a bit of a shell former, I still love it. That said, they gotta stop using it. Springer was one of my favorite figures at the time. See my review for, more details on Springer, maybe? The only Voyager I'm not in love with is Ape Face. He kind of has a gross color and his waist doesn't swivel, but he's fine, he's fun. And Leader class, well, they had some drastic changes. They lost about 30% of their size, but in exchange, they are just a lot more solid and dense. And they also come with way more accessories than before. Woo! While I personally, I do like all the leaders from Siege. I can understand why some people didn't want to pay leader price for figures like Shockwave or Astrotrain. They're just Voyager sized, but with a few little upgrades and accessories. And Siege gave birth to our first Commander class figure, Jetfire! All of the commanders we've gotten since Jetfire usually have some weird gimmick to them, like Motormaster turns into Menasor, or Optimus from Armada can turn into little tiny Optimus, and Skylynx is whatever Skylynx is. But Jetfire is he's just kind of a big dude. And I kind of love him for that. Siege did mark the beginning of the curse of translucent plastic. It wasn't so bad yet, and Mirage was really the only figure heavily affected by this. But he's just going to crumble to dust any day now. And I will not buy the Kingdom version, because if he doesn't have a shoulder cannon, I'm not buying it. No. Exclusives weren't really that bad yet. They wouldn't get horrible till Earthrise. But if you wanted a full set of the original 3 Seekers, you had to get Skywarp off Amazon, and if you wanted Mr. Ratchet, you had to go to the pharmacy. Again, why are there Transformers at Walgreens? And quality control in Siege was pretty good. There weren't any massive flaws on a lot of these figures. Unlike its sequel, I still love you, Earthrise, but for the most part though, Siege was a pretty flawless line, and I think it's one of the few Transformers lines you can honestly say this about. Okay, it's time to end my rambling here. Was War for Cybertron Siege good? Yeah, obviously, you already knew that. It was the start of the golden age of Transformers figures that I think we're in now. And while I do think nearly every single figure in this line is fantastic in their own way, almost all of them have been replaced by slightly better versions. But unlike a lot of other figures that get outdated by newer versions, Siege managed to stay unique due to that controversial battle damage and those Cybertronian alt modes. Siege gave us the unification of Takara and Hasbro, articulate figures, proper figure scaling, and best of all, memorable, unique, and just a nearly flawless toy line. Without Siege, we have no legacy, and that would just be tragic. It was also the start of Transformers getting way too expensive, though.